There we go. Here we go. Hi there. This is Emily Craig, and it is Wednesday, the 18th of September, 2019. And I've been kind of quiet. I'm observing and reprocessing matters of concern that are not being discussed, and I haven't worked through it all yet. But the first thing I noticed this morning was that there is a very interesting video about how to deal with a narcissist in terms of verbally. And when you look at the behavior of the deep state, you see that the deep state itself is coming from the orientation of hyper certainty, of hyper dogmaticism, all right? And it operates as a unit because it's top-down agenda controlled by the Illuminati. It operates as a single organism, particularly now that it is utilizing artificial intelligence to gather its data and come to its conclusions. And so it can be confronted and addressed and dealt with as an individual mindset, because there's nobody in the deep state who's allowed to have thoughts or beliefs or practices that differ from the doctrine, dogma, policy, procedure, practices of the deep state itself. So we can deal with the deep state as a unit, and the strategies for personally confronting that point of view are spoken of by the psychologist, and I'm sticking the link here so you can benefit from that. Some more psychology that I find is very helpful is Jordan Peterson and his extensive walk through the mental steps of cognition and emotion and articulation in terms of relationship. This is what we have been missing for so long, to the extent that our children don't even have a vocabulary that we can share with, with our children and us. We don't even have a vocabulary that talks about relationships in a very positive and helpful way, the way Dr. Peterson does. So I've been spending a lot of time hearing what he has to say and sifting it through and pulling it through the keyhole of my experience. So I've been rather quiet. I noticed there are some troubling signs on the horizon. One is the tit for tat between Israel, which claims to be Jewish, although it's run by occult Illuminati who follow occult doctrine, dogma, and practice. It's not run by the Jewish law, which doesn't share the behaviors that are going on, between Israel and Iran. Now, Iran is aligned with China. Mr. Trump is dangling and diddling with China, which is not a good idea. And he's also bolstering Israel's case against Iran. So the Iran-China alliance is being stabbed in the eye constantly, and it won't take too long for something to come from that problem. All right, probably a war, probably a big war. That's what seems to be in the offing, which is pretty troubling. All right, I live in an area where we have 5G. I have 5G here, and it affects me physically. And I'm negotiating with my provider Why do I have to have 5G in the house? And how come the bill went from $51 a month to $80 a month? So we're talking about that because it's not desirable. It's affecting me physically. It's affecting my, well, you know what 5G does. It explodes the water molecules inside your cells. It's basically perforating the body. That's not a healthy situation. All right. I am still pursuing the legal case against the British royals, most of whom are actors and doppelgangers, most of whom are not even in the royal bloodline. And there are a few of us who object to that. We are monarchists because monarchy, as well as the church, are two competing platforms against the New World Order, which is a totalitarian top-down empire with the same norms and values as every other empire in the past, which is child sex trafficking, slavery, human trafficking, body parts marketing, drug running, gun running. They are the epitome of the two-headed eagle on the flag, which says that, yes, they speak from good, but they do something else, okay? They allow evil. Whereas in a democracy or in a republic or in a monarchy, the people decide whether they want to allow evil or not. But when an empire takes hold, it allows evil and there's no way to get rid of it. It's like a cancer. And so I'm really digging my heels in to figure out what to say to people to get them to wake up, okay? Because this New World Order empire is worse than you can even imagine. It's worse. Just look at the submission and subjection that occurs under the teachings of the Quran. And that's the sort of submission and subjection we're talking about under the New World Order empire, except the New World Order empire is more technological, like China, okay? This is not where a free mind can exist with any sense of, I wouldn't say security, but at least any sense of balance, okay? We're always off guard. And I'm thinking about if Islam is persisting and if Christianity is to persist, the Christian church has got to stop being stupid, and they are extremely stupid. And they've got to face the fact that Islam carries and teaches the intention to overwhelm, overcome, and conquer over Christianity and Christians personally as a matter of doctrine, dogma, and teachings. Well, we Christians can't allow that if we intend to follow Christ and intend to worship God the way we know how to do it. Now, the Muslims can do whatever they want to do among themselves, but we Christians are not going to allow them to come slaughter us. And we have to deal with that reality, and our churches are not dealing with that reality. Our churches have all sold out to the New World Order that all religions are alike. And if you look at the teachings, okay, of the different religions, it's the teachings that evoke and invoke behavior. And behavior is what makes a society civil. And so it's the teachings that we measure, not the head tripping. The head tripping doesn't matter. Let's get that clear. All right. So I'm thinking about how to wake people up to that reality. One of my personal experiences is that in this process of going back through my life and examining my experience, I have had access to memories of other lives that occurred long ago. Now, I don't know if those memories are my memories or whether those memories are a download. I don't know. Okay, I just know I have access to emotions and feelings and experiences that are not now. And that's what I have to dig into, because the fact is, I've always been a wuss. I've always just submitted to whatever I had to submit to and didn't question, why am I doing this? So that's why I'm taking this time off to ask myself, what needs to be done, and how come I'm not doing that? How come I'm just still sitting here watching videos on YouTube? Okay. And so I'm thinking through, and I'm going through my stock of memories of before and before that and before that. And I have a set of memories from a character by the name of Boudica. Boudica. She's a big, strong woman. She had red hair down to her hips. And she had 2 daughters that were raped by the Roman centurions. And she was flogged by them. And so she got a bee in her bonnet. And she led her little army and fought against the Romans. She personally, with her own 2 hands and her own 2 weapons, took out 70 Roman soldiers. She was angry. She was an angry woman. She was very angry. Okay. Well, anger is not an emotion that I particularly like having to contend with. But anyway, she had a mindset about resisting empire that I'm kind of going back into, because what we who are peaceable and peacemaking people have to do is resist this new world order empire that will enslave and humiliate us time and time and time and time again. I mean, that's its agenda, folks. They want population reduction. They want to kill off the people who are intelligent, and they want to trick us into submitting to genocidal policies, contaminated vaccines, destructive pharmaceuticals, fluoride in the water, heavy metals in the atmosphere, poison in the soil. Okay, they want to subject us to this, and we're going to have to stand up and say no. But standing up and saying no isn't enough. Okay, so I'm thinking about that too. What else can we do to actually not protest? Protesting doesn't work. Protesting just supplies the mainstream, the dumbstream media with events that they can use to twist into their agenda. Protesting doesn't work. Petitions don't work. I remember when a representative, Conyer, wasn't that his name, from New York, took a petition to Congress that had 200,000 or 300,000 signatures on it, and there was nobody in Congress who would even receive it. Okay, petitions don't matter anymore. Elections, because the voting machines are rigged and the voting districts are gerrymandered, and it was the actual objective of the DARPA Pegasus program to rig all of the elections from 1972 to 2016. Okay, elections are iffy too. Writing your congressperson who is being financed by big corporations, that doesn't work either. Okay, so what has worked for me so far to get me through this far is prayer. Okay, I pray all the time. Okay, just keep me going, just show me the way, just keep me going, just show me the way. Because the younger generation doesn't get it. The younger generation is interested in the social issues, not in the power issues. So that's what I've been up to, and that's what's keeping me busy. And that's what I'll be speaking to this Saturday at People's Internet Radio, which is in Dublin, Ireland. And I've put off the Israeli radio station because I don't know enough about Israel per se to know how to comment or judge issues surrounding the existence and thriving of Israel. I've asked that radio station to please allow me to come on as a guest, but not as a host. I don't feel qualified to be a host. And so I'm keeping busy that way. And I hope you're keeping busy too, because this is not a time for slack hands. And there's also the saying, many hands make light work. So the more of us who wake up to the real dangers that we have to face, one of them is war. One of them is the total pollution of our environment, which is deliberate, including the media environment of information. We have to resist all that. And one of them is the tricky, dangle, top-down gaming that goes on in relationships between people who are separated by ideology. The identity politics game wrecks our relationships, wrecks our friendships and our family relationships because of the continual programming that anybody who doesn't think exactly the correct way is somebody you shun, is somebody you distance yourself from. And by distancing ourselves from all of our allies, we have defeated ourselves. We can't do that. We have to embrace the people we know who are peacekeeping, peace-abiding, peacemaking, regardless of where their philosophy or ideology comes from. And we have to kind of distance ourselves from anybody and everybody, no matter what label they want to place on themselves. Oh, I'm a Christian, yeah, and I've got all these guns in the cabinet, or I'm a Jew, and I'm better than everybody else. You know, Jews are supposed to be superior to the rest of the people. I don't know about that racial superiority stuff. I have enough trouble just getting through the day. All right. So there are people who claim to be religious, but whose methods are not in harmony with their claim. That's what I'm trying to say. And we have to figure out how to deal with that. And we can't just pretend that that's not real and not true. Okay. So we'll see you guys probably Saturday. And we've had some rain over the last couple of days here in California. Imagine that, rain in California. So everything is nice and fresh today, and it's in the 70s, and it's a lovely day. And I thought I'd check back with you. When I put up a video here, it never gets over 100 views. I used to get 200 or 300 views before I was deplatformed for no reason. Now I get fewer than 100 views, even if I place the link to the video all over the place. And so this is shadow banning 1A. This is what Jeff Bezos' company, YouTube, does to people whom they do not prefer to hear. And I'm going to let go and let God deal with that. So we'll see you guys on Saturday. Have a good one. Bye-bye.